Shattered, A Mother's Journey Through Life After Losing a Child is a book written by Shanteria Jackson. In this book, Shanteria shares a testimony and experience of healing and grieving after losing a child. She goes into exquisite details about the worry, pain she has ever felt, a pregnancy, a son's birth, his death, and burial. This pain caused her to blame God at times and curse his name. Shantaria didn't think she would make it through her journey and shares about her suicide attempt and what drove her to that point. She knows it was God who spared and saved her life. Shantaria walks us through a planned pregnancy that she thought would stop or at least ease the pain and experience of the first year of grieving Jacquez's life. January, although it is Shantaria's most dreaded month of the year, turned out to be a month of visitation from God for her. Jacquez's life began and ended in that month, but her purpose was also built in the same month years later. That pains revealed a purpose in a chapter dedicated to Jacquez, who she refers to as a guidance agent and good luck charm. She reviewed the dreams and visions she received from God around his birthday. Shantara wrote this book not just to share testimony, but to help people know they are not alone, to let people know they can get through whatever they are facing with God. Is the ultimate answer, is a healer. For years, Shantaria carried much of her pain and emotion inside and hadn't shared them with many. Now, after 13 years, she's ready to speak and use her pain to help someone else. And on today's episode of Auto Interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have Shantaria Jackson on the show. Welcome on the show, Shantaria.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure and my great joy to have you featured on P English Literature.
Thank you. It's definitely a pleasure. I have been looking forward to this, and I'm definitely glad to be featured on your show today. Definitely. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's my joy as well. Now, Shantaria, first of all, I want to say that you have a very pulling, emotional, and striking title and story to tell. And I want to say that thank you, for taking the boldness to talk about it on my show. I'm scared if this would, bring back some memories, but then I'd love to ask you why you choose Shattered as a title.
So I chose Shattered as a title for a few different reasons. And actually, before I chose Shatter, the title of my book at first was actually Losing Jacquez, Life After Death. So
Hmm.
I actually was gonna go with that title, starting out, and then kind of the more I thought about it and the more I prayed about it, I ended up going with Shattered because when I think about the emotions and a word, that can come up with how I felt,
Hmm.
with regarding losing a child. Shattered is definitely it explains so much in itself to where I decided in the last phases actually of the publishing of my book was I pretty much changed the title towards the end, went with shattered because I felt like that word in itself, it describes so much in itself. And so, yes, that's what made me shattered. Like I said, emotions and feelings, and it describes how I felt at that time.
Hmm. Wow, I love the sound of that, and it's very pulling. Even from me reading the description of the book's page on Amazon, it's very emotional. Now I know that it can be so hard, and I mean so hard, to talk about grief. Most people don't like talking about grief because they don't want to bring back old saddening memories or upset someone. But sometimes not talking about grief could make one have a difficult time releasing those pain, which is one of the reasons why I need to commend you, your courageous approach to writing a book like this. I would love to hear from you. Do you think it is healthy to talk about grief?
Yes, I think it's healthy to talk about grief. For me, I will say that for so many years, I really didn't talk about it too much. I kind of
Mm.
went through the emotions. I had a good support system for the most part, but after so long, I felt like, people may have not understood me, and it was very hard for me. And, losing a child, it was very, very difficult. And sometimes, even now, if I may be honest, I find it, sometimes hard and difficult to talk about that process, because sometimes people don't want to talk about grieving, and sometimes
Mm,
it's hard to talk about grieving and thinking about those emotions, and as you stated as well, thinking about those emotions, and sometimes the pain that comes up with it. And sometimes we
absolutely.
as people, we don't want to go through that pain, but I feel
Mm,
like it is healthy to express your feelings and to express what you're going through and those emotions and
mm,
how you are grieving. And I do feel like I feel like everybody grieve differently. You have some
absolutely.
people, they some people may write about it, some people may draw, some people may use art. I
Mm,
do believe, some people may think about it, and it may affect them today and may not affect them tomorrow, but some of us, it's, we grieve definitely differently.
absolutely. Well, I love the sound of that. I really love the sound of that. I'd love to ask you too, Shantaria, considering the death and the time of grieving Jacquez's death, how were you able to come out of that mental space and eventually decided that you were going to write a book about it?
Honestly and truthfully, it was a dream and a vision from God. Honestly, I
Mm,
tell people all the time that I really never foreseen myself being an author. It's not anything that I've dreamed about doing since I was a child, but I feel like, I really had a dream and a vision of it was time for me to heal. And I started praying and asking God what my purpose is. And for so long, I have looked at this in a negative light. I've been depressed. I've went through, I cry. I blame, God. I go through the
mm,
motions where I'm upset, and I've always only looked at it as a negative standpoint, me missing my son. I mean, so, but I felt like now God is like, okay, enough of you just looking at it in a negative light. It's time to start healing, and
mm,
it's time to start talking about it, not only in, with the way you feel you're grieving and your loss, but also
mm,
to talk about your purpose and your healing. And so for me, it took me, this book came out last year actually, and 13 years of grieving and healing. And I was
mm,
able to talk about that in my book, is that some people feel like, it goes away, and it doesn't. I can also say that writing my book and finally being in a mental space to where, okay, I'm ready to talk about it. I do
mm,
know that it takes people time to be able to talk about things. And this was not anything, because at first, when I received the vision and the instruction from God to write my book, I was
mm,
like, Lord, I'm not an author. That's not anything I foresaw. So, like, you
mm,
have a lot of books behind you. In my home, I don't have a lot of books, so I was it really is something that I just really went off of a vision and a dream from God, and just really being able to get in that mental space to
mm,
be able to actually talk about it. And I feel like now it is time to talk about it and to heal and to let people know that there is a purpose for your pain. And so it took me a long time, like I said, 13 years. And, I'm finally able to say that with writing my book, it did help me heal in a way. So it was time. It's time.
mm. Wow, I love the sound of that. That's really deep and quite, thought-provoking. I love that. Now, we all know that writing a book is quite hard, especially when it has to do with the theme of grief and the loss of a child. How were you able to cope with the emotion attached to the process of writing this book? Because I can't just imagine you penning them down alone can be very, very painful, can bring out and arouse quite a lot of emotion and memories. Going to ask you, how were you able to cope during this time with the emotion attached to the making of the book Shattered?
Whew, I will say that it was difficult. It was
Mm,
hard. I was able to cope. Thank God I made it through. I cried. Some days I cried because some of the emotions that I poured into the book, some of the things that I wrote into the book, that it was things that I had not thought about in years, and I purposely had not thought about those things because it did cause me so much pain. So when I say I went through a journey with writing my book, I went through emotions, I went through times where I cried, I went through moments when it felt like it had just happened yesterday. Like, it was definitely difficult, but I'm grateful for my support system. I'm thankful for God. I'm big on God. And I'm thankful for the people that was there, because it was not an easy process for me. I
Mm.
have other children, and so I work a job still. And so it was definitely a process and a journey, but I'm thankful that I was able to cope and was able to get through. Everything is not easy,
Absolutely.
with anything in life. We go through things, and it's sometimes it is difficult, and sometimes we do face challenges, and
Yeah.
sometimes writing things is not always easy to cope, but I made it through. I was able
Mm.
to write and tell my story and give my testimony, and so it was hard, but this is where I am, and the book is out, and I'm definitely grateful and thankful that I was able to
Yeah.
cope, and make it through.
Yeah. That's a great one. That's a great one. And thanks for sharing how it makes you feel during the process of writing it. That's quite lovely to know. Now, apart from Shattered, do you have any other works you've authored or maybe currently working on?
Yes. So outside
Oh,
of Shattered, which was my first book,
yeah.
I actually have a second book as well. The title of that book is Mask Off.
Oh.
So definitely it is actually out. Right,
Mm.
it is available now as well. Available on Amazon and on my website. So I'm working on, getting shouted out, and also have my second book that I've been working on. And also I've been working on coming out with my own clothing brand, which is Fabulous and Thick, and just
Mm.
really thankful about that. And even here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which I'm sitting in my boutique right now. I have
Oh.
yes, Shanteria's One Stop Shop.
Oh.
So yes, I have a women's clothing boutique as well. So definitely grateful and thankful for that too. So
Yeah,
definitely have
that's
you, yeah.
that's beautiful. And if you have anyone who would love to get some clothing, they can come to Tennessee and get you up there.
Yes. So they can come to Tennessee. So I have the physical location, 3467 Wilcox Boulevard in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Oh, that'd
I
be fun.
also have a website too. So just in case you can't come to Chattanooga, I also have website, which is www.soss.store. So sauce.store. If anyone wants to look me up online and order
Yeah.
offline, that's available as well.
Yeah, that's very lovely. And I'm employing the viewers who lives in Tennessee to consider that as well. Now, I'd love to
Okay.
ask you, Shantaria, is there anything that you would love to share with the viewers about your books that we didn't mention in this interview and you'd love the viewers to know?
Yes. So I will talk back about Shattered briefly, and just will let people know that I feel like that there is a purpose for your pain. In
Hmm.
my book, I discuss, we talk about grief, we talk about healing, and something I had not talked about so far is that I attempted suicide after I lost
Hmm.
my child. I tried to
Oh.
kill myself. It
Oh.
was a part of my grieving, and I missed my son. I had gained a lot of weight.
Hmm.
I went through a phase to where I didn't understand. I blamed God. I was upset. I was angry. I blocked myself out. And it's something that I partially, ashamed to talk about, but I also overcame it. But that was a part of my, a weak moment that I had way back then. And, something that I had never talked about either. But I was just really hurting and was in a dark place. But today I can sit here and tell you that I made it through that, and I got through that, and I'm so thankful to God. I've never attempted to kill myself or harm myself again, but
Hmm.
when you are grieving, I just want to tell everybody that there is hope, there is healing. I can say that 14 years later, that, with the things that didn't kill me, they actually made me stronger.
mm,
And I can also say that even though I lost a child, and at first, like I said, I looked at it in a bad, space or whatever, now I'm able to say that even in my book, I talk about how my son is my good luck charm, because
mm,
some of the things that I do now, pretty much like me opening a store, that came, that vision came from God around
mm,
my son's death date, which is also his birthday. But that's also a part of the year when I'm depressed and I'm, going through things, and mentally I miss my child and I don't understand. So that's always been a hard and difficult time. But now I'm
mm,
able to say, there is hope. I'm healing and I'm still working on it now. And I will
mm,
not tell anyone that the pain goes away immediately, because it doesn't. And I'm able to say I lost my son January 23rd, 2009. And even
oh,
on today, I'm able to say I still miss him. Sometimes I still
mm,
cry. Sometimes I still have those moments, but I'm thankful for having a support system. I'm thankful for having a great God. I'm thankful for, being able to write, because sometimes if you feel like you can't talk to people, then sometimes writing helps you. And I will say that me writing my book, it definitely helped heal me. And after I wrote my book, even though I went through the moments I went through, after I was done, I kind of felt lighter. I was able to
mm,
get out so much that I had been carrying, and so
mm,
much that I had been holding in. So I would tell anybody that the things sometimes that, we be thinking we're not going to make it, we miss people, you will make it and you will get
mm,
through. And there is a purpose for your pain.
mm. Wow, that's quite deep. That's very deep and resounding. Thank you so much for mentioning that. I'd love you to show a copy of the book to the camera just so viewers can see what it looks like. Oh, yeah, that's great. That's great. That's very deep. Now, I'd love to ask you, Shantaria, as a published author, what sort of advice do you have for other writers who are still struggling with publishing a book? What did you tell people in this category?
First of all, I will tell people that you can do it. Do not think that you can't. Do not think that it's too hard or it's too difficult. Don't be too hard on yourself, but
Yeah,
also be disciplined, because writing a book, it does take discipline. It does take hard work sometimes. It
yeah,
does take dedication. But
absolutely.
it can be done and you can do it, definitely. So, I mean, I faced challenges, because even as a published author, sometimes it is hard to get out in front of people. It is hard to market sometimes,
Yeah,
knowing where to, for your book to be displayed, where is a good place and where is not a good place. Or, of course, my book is available on Amazon. So it's like, just kind of trying to figure out what company to go through, if you should
yeah,
publish, or sometimes you have to hire people. Sometimes there are things you can do on your own, doing your own research. You can do your research. If you have a question, reach out and ask somebody. And you know that there are resources and people that are willing to help you. I had help along the way. I pretty much used a company out of Georgia, Beyond the Book Media. So they pretty much with publishing and writing. I attended a brand author academy to assist me with writing my book. So I faced
oh,
challenges too, and I had to have help too. So
mm,
definitely, I will say that sometimes you will face challenges. I don't feel like I am an author that knows it all. I still have questions. I still, have to reach out too. So definitely.
yeah. Yeah, that's great. I love your advice on that. And I'm hopeful that viewers, including myself, would love to utilize it. So, Shantaria, on what platform can interested viewers get a copy of your books in case we have people who love to get a copy?
Yes. So if you would like to get a copy of my book is available on Amazon. Again, I'm Shanteria Jackson, Shattered: A Mother's Journey Through Life After Losing a Child. It
Yeah.
is available on Amazon. It is also available on my website, which is www.shanteriajackson.com. Also, I have them located in my physical store in the location here of
Oh,
34.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I'm, trying to have multiple
Absolutely.
avenues
Absolutely.
of having them. I'm also in the process of getting them into a local library and trying
Mm.
to have them everywhere is the goal and the plan. But right now, definitely Amazon. Also on my website, www.shanteriajackson.com. And so I try to have them, like I said, available there definitely right now.
Yeah, and I left a link in the discussion part of this interview where viewers can get a copy directly on Amazon and other websites as well. So thank you so much, Shantaria Jackson, for taking the bold step to come up and talk about your fantastic and awesome book. I want to say that I really appreciate it, and this is such an amazing interview.
Oh, you are welcome. No problem. Thank you so much for having me. Also, I will say that if any of you all are on Facebook, I ship the books directly. So if you
Oh,
wanted to order a book and you want to send me your name and your address, I can ship the book to you that way as well. So
yeah,
on my social media accounts, on Facebook, if any of the viewers want to follow me or look me up or also reach out, or like I said, I'm a grieving mother, and I
mm,
have a testimony, have a story. I don't mind to ever answer any questions. I will
yeah,
help any way that I can. So on Facebook I am Shanteria Jackson, and I'll spell my name just in case. Shanteria and Jackson, Shanteria Jackson. Also on Instagram, I'm Mimi underscore rare queen, and that's Meme underscore rare RARE queen
yeah.
QEEN. So definitely, if anyone wants to follow me, look me up. I'll follow back. So I just definitely want to thank you so much for your time today, and thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate it. And like I said, anybody that has lost someone, I am here to tell you that you can get through it. You will be
Mm,
okay. You will survive. Any fellow authors out there, if you want to connect with me, I'm always looking to connect. I'm always looking to, come to podcast, anything, whatever. So
yeah,
definitely try to be available as much as I can, and try to link and try to connect, and, try to help heal people, because that's really what it's all about at the end of the day, is letting other,
absolutely.
not only women, not only mothers, but also people in general, giving them hope, letting them know that, hey, I made it through, and even when I
Mm.
thought I wasn't going to. So I just want to say thank you. Sorry, hope I haven't talked too much, but thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And to the links to the Facebook and Instagram, I left all of that also in the description part of the interview, where viewers can also connect and follow you up. That'll be great. It's fine.
Thank
So thank you so much. It's really wholesome.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. And I appreciate you. Like I said, I appreciate you for having me. I am looking forward to, I see that you have some books as well. So definitely some poems and things. So it's definitely always great to hear from other authors, to even get advice, any
Yeah.
advice or any tips, or I'm always open and welcome. Like I said, I'm just getting started out. And so I'm open to any advice, any tips that anyone would like to give as well, suggestions, anything. So thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you so much.